All right, welcome to the Friday, August 6th meeting of the Side Yard Sales Committee. I now call this meeting to order. There is audio and video recording for public broadcast. If anyone else intends to record this meeting, please let us know. First on the agenda is public forum. Anyone wishing to address the committee on, well, the one matter on the agenda is free to do so. The actual parties to the matter, you'll have a chance to speak when that gets called. So
just a quick question. We didn't get a baby, we have our kids. I didn't realize it'd be so small. Is it okay if they sit in here or do they just sit outside?
oh yeah, I mean, as long as they,
I don't have a problem leaving the door open either. If
We could leave the door open too if you want to keep an
Maybe
eye on
just
it.
sit outside.
Whatever
Yeah.
you come.
They'd be fine just sitting outside. And...
Sure.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Do you want to leave the door open? I can get a door stop or something. I'd like to leave the door.
Oh, they're fine.
You sure?
Yeah, they're good, yeah. They have the windows.
Okay.
just, you have your name written down, but if you could just state it for the record, for the report.
My name is Jim Pierce. I live at 15 Marshall Street. And I was just wanting to bring a few things. For full disclosure, originally in 2019, when I bought my property, I was actually looking at that property because I saw 3 different species of woodpeckers on it, which I'm really deeply into protecting the environment. So just full disclosure there. When the side sale came up later, or actually I did attempt to inquire about the property before I actually moved up here. I had my significant other had her inquire about the property, and it was not available. And then the side sale, I realized I was not really eligible for it. So that's fine and dandy. Some points I really want to bring up is that as far as developing that road, we need to limit the development because the waste company cannot use the road to do this steep grade of it. I do not know the actual grade is, I believe, between 40 and 45 degrees going up it. So waste companies cannot use the grade due to the use it due to the steep grade, mixed with excessive water causing the road to be slippery. I personally seen several people slide on that road both during the summer when it's raining, spring when it's raining, and especially in the winter when it's covered with ice. Which is this next thing. The city limits the use of plowing, the city of Pittsburgh limits plowing due to the steep grade mixed with snow and ice because it becomes dangerous even for the plows. That's the red flag to me. And the entire problem is because of the drainage that comes off of Simmons Road down the hill. A year and a half ago, I forget the exact time, I reached out to the city about improving the drainage of the street. And they was not able to do it due to the size of the road because they said it was not a true road, it was like an annex road. The lower side was actually full length, or full width up behind my house and up to Simmons. Is actually lower width is actually not enough truly for 2 cars to get there. So they said they really could not do much for drainage, but also if they did, it would be several $100,000 in order to do it because they'd have to drill the rock, they'd have to get it connected to the other as well. So really, there's nothing they can do about the drainage at this point in time. Or they'd have to get more street-related people to help curb the drainage. Once again, this goes back when I spoke to people from the street. They said they could not do much because of the width of the road as well. They could not narrow it down any further, really, which is what would be required to control the flow of the water as well. Once again, it was considered an annex road. After speaking a little bit further with people, they said there was actually a chance that the road itself, the annex road itself, may be removed as a road, the upper section of it. Basically, those of us who were down, like where I'm at, could still get up to our properties, but they would really just cut it off and do something else with it, either turn it over as private drives for us, whoever else lived there, or just or somehow work it out. I do not know all the details. That was never fully materialized, and I didn't get really a full answer on everything. And really the addition of a parking lot would cause more drainage down the road, because right now the water is actually seeping into the soil. It's actually going in and seeping into the system as well, instead of going on the road. If we have a parking lot up there, it's going to actually, well, in order for it to drain properly, it's going to have to drain onto the road itself, because there's no drainage up there, which means we're going to have even further water on that road. And as of right now, like my upper side, I've had to get a winch to get myself up there 3 times in the last 2 years, because if the upper part is sealed off by a car that's stuck or something, you have to get a winch to get yourself up there, because you have to enter the lower side. And I know the city does have a place for me to park about 2 blocks away down the hill. I can't do that. I don't have that option, because I've got to be within 75 or 100 feet of this canyon at all times. And the same ice that I will be driving down, I have to walk down to get to that parking lot. I originally wanted to stay out of this matter, but on June 25th, I ran into the pavement company that was out there doing the surveying, and they had pretty much told me that this was pretty much a done deal. Otherwise, they would not be out there. And it's like, okay, no, we need to really step back and really look at this. So I decided to come in and say my piece, because the city does not need to be doing something that's going to cause the city to have to spend more money to improve the drainage, unless that's already been budgeted for. Because we're going to immediately have water runoff once the parking lot is up there. That's really all.
Okay. Thank you. We will take that into consideration. I appreciate the input. Any questions or comments from the committee?
I just want to know what kind of woodpeckers.
There's just the general common, there's the red crested, and there's also the red headed. I've seen one red headed up there. That's what really got my attention. The other 2 are protected, but that one's really protected.
That's the big one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
The
yeah,
gold
oh,
redhead,
yeah,
yes.
he's huge, he's
Yes.
huge, he's awesome, he is so,
They
I've
are-
never seen one before.
They're-
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing about the woodpeckers, is they actually will eat on that grassy area that's where the property is located. They actually will eat off of that. Because they don't just eat trees, off of trees. They also go down into the woods, but they love that area. And that's one that we can't actually even destroy the environment that they are used to, without getting some assistance from the federal government. Because that's a matter of how it can eat by any of us.
Yeah, okay. All
That much
right.
love woodpeckers.
No, that's important to know.
I love the birds too, that's why I asked.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't imagine what we like the redhead, yeah, we like the redhead.
So, the one item, well, actually, I'm gonna jump in the order really quickly, if no one has any objection. We'll just take up the minutes of the previous meeting
Okay.
first, just to get it out of the way. Looks good to me. Motion to approve? Okay, I have a motion and a second. If there's no objection, we'll do this by unanimous consent. Seeing no objection, the minutes are approved. All right, so the one item on our agenda for today is 35 Davis Street. I'm given to understand the parties were not able to work out an agreement to divide the parcel.
Correct.
All right, so whichever of you would like to go first, go ahead and just give us sort of your side of it.
Since we weren't, I was on the phone or whatever, and I misinterpreted a lot of things that, because I said we get the front and we get the back, and I don't know where anybody was standing, but I was standing on Davis Street, and that's what it's all about. So I would like them to go first, because I have no clue how they think they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so tried to kind of sketch it out, so I think you're right, I think the back and the front is the confusion will be met about where actually. is the-
Absolutely.
That's, and it kind of, once we looked at it, we were trying to find a solution, but it doesn't seem like. I think we're just gonna one copy for, 2 copies for you guys, I'll try to explain this, actually, can you give this to.
Sure, that's fine, well,
Sorry, any more.
You want me
Yeah,
to make some copies?
no,
You okay?
I'll try to explain it, but, so essentially, when you're looking at, and tell me if I'm confusing, essentially, when you're standing on David Street, looking up at the lot, there's a lot here, and then up behind, our property is a smaller piece, and that's behind a retaining wall. Does that make sense? Kind of right now, if we're looking that way?
Yeah, we look at it this way because we're.
You're looking right from your house.
Yeah.
And so this part, there's a little wood wall, and this is where the lot is. We, wish I could have gotten a better picture of it. But above here, I believe that you were talking about behind the house, is like putting a parking lot in there. But the, right next to the street is where the parking lot would have to go.
okay, gotcha.
And what we are proposing is that we split the flat part below the retaining wall so that there's a couple of parking spaces and access next to their house, and on the other side.
Those are pictures.
the-
Yeah, so that's the retaining wall, and this is the lot. That's the retaining wall, and that's the,
We have,
yeah, I'll show you.
we have some big pictures.
Oh, excellent, perfect.
So
Actually, much better than ours.
So below the retaining wall is the space where it's viable for a parking lot. Above the retaining wall, right behind our property, is much smaller, and you can't get in there, it's not viable for in-cat parking. And so how to split up what I put in here is a little below, the area below the retaining wall is what we're interested in talking about. And I think that's where we got stuck, because that's the same area that I think that you guys are interested in.
Right, how many parking spots are you looking to have? We had an email and she was requiring 8.
So we have, you know, 4 units.
It's totally impossible.
And you
So we can fit 3 cars on that spot and that's it because of the elevation in that. And I will show all the pictures.
Have you spoken to anybody regarding the zoning ordinances and the requirements for width, length, and all that other?
So zoning ordinance is one thing, in terms of space on the parking lot, at least the estimates that we got for putting, that was our, the company that came out gave us an estimate. There's nothing about going forward though, we just got an estimate, so I don't know what he was talking about, but he talked about the parking lots, and you get multiple parking lots, and that's not a problem to put the parking lot. It's, from our understanding, the problem is how do you share that space where that parking lot would be, so that they get the parking access and the delivery access, I think that was talked about.
And that was my understanding from you, Mrs. Sawyer, that you didn't like the way that they had divided up the lot.
Absolutely,
they're
it's
proposing.
impossible for it to park.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
what I thought,
absolutely.
okay.
So what are the dimensions of the proposed parking lot?
I don't think we divided up the lot at all.
Well, we didn't divide it. Oh, you only do.
No, the dimensions, like the length and width, just so
I
that.
think that's why I sort of shouldn't like the way we divide, well, we didn't divide anything. It's not for us to do that.
Right, we didn't divide anything, but we tried to, so I have a lot of measurements, and I have tried 90-degree parking, 45-degree parking, 60-degree parking, and parallel parking. And because of the specific requirements, since they're multifamily,
Mm-hmm.
you can't, if they even had the whole thing and tried to do a lot, you cannot fit any more than 3 vehicles in there.
Yeah, so does anyone have the actual numbers on the length and width of the proposed parking area?
Yeah, so, well, not the proposed parking area itself, but I have,
Sure. I'm just looking at
60 by 40.
60 by 40, okay.
60 feet by 40.
Oh, 60 feet by 40, okay.
And the frontage on that is what, 86 feet? By
So-
78 feet. Can I borrow that pen real quick? Sure.
Thanks.
But you have to remember the corner of that property is 10 feet up, 10 plus feet up in the air. You
Right.
can't get to that.
Sure, I'm just trying to work this out in my head.
and then because it's a 4-family, they have to have a buffer strip. of
Right,
10 feet
10-foot
from all
buffer
sides.
strip.
So, I
Yeah.
don't know if you
So I'm
wanted to.
guessing-
So is that taken into account? Have you already subtracted that from the area? Or
So that is not, we would have a civil engineer do all this for us, but we kind of got stuck, one, it's hard to get one, but 2, we didn't want to go ahead and have a civil engineer
That was our plan with us, and then that was it.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't want to go ahead and do one just with our plan, because you guys asked us to come up with something together.
Right.
Right,
And
right.
we still,
So-
we're hoping the civil engineer would solve those issues about parking, about how much they could get, how much we could get, the setback. The paving company seemed to see that, I think there was.
Yeah, I'm not exactly seeing it either. If it's 60 by 40, then assuming you lay out you'd have to take 10 off either, well, if you do it the long way, you'd only have to take 10 off one side, because the other side doesn't abut another lot. So you'd be left with 50, a conforming parking space is 9 feet wide.
So the other section, there's a section that there's another property, so they have to be in 10 feet from that property. And then our property
There's a
line
side setback,
goes across the whole thing.
there's a side setback for a parking lot on a
Right, 10 feet.
residential property.
Well, it's 3 feet normally, 10 feet if it's a multifamily.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would have to, so you'd have 50 usable feet there. You'd get, assuming we ignore any issues with the maneuvering aisle, you'd get at most 4.
Do they allow for
conforming.
stacked parking?
No, we typically don't
They don't.
allow stacked parking. And I'm not sure if there's enough
Yeah.
depth there anyway to do that and still be far enough back from the street. So,
And we said, whatever spots we can take, it's a real mess up there. We said the cars are sliding down into each other.
right, of course. No, I do understand. I'm just trying to get a picture of what would end up being
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, we were hoping the civil engineer would answer those questions in more detail, else we would have been more prepared.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm not expecting you to have a detailed plan here. It's just I come from the zoning board a while back. I'm not on it anymore, but so I'm just trying to work it out in my own head, because if the total footage just isn't there, then there's nowhere for the civil engineer to tweak it. So I'm seeing a maximum of about 4 spaces. Now, that's not, I do want to make clear to both parties, that's not necessarily dispositive, because it's an existing non-conforming structure and it already lacks parking. So generally, the city isn't going to say you can't add any parking unless you add all the parking. But it is something that I want us to take into account and be clear on going forward. All right, so your primary concern is the parking lot. I know you had mentioned some other plans for other parts of the parcel, but your primary concern is the parking lot.
That's correct.
And your primary concern, if I remember correctly, was access
We need
to,
parking also though, because if we have to climb up 14 stairs in order to get to our house, and we would like to be able to park so that we no longer have to step, because both of us have got issues with walking, so it hurts every time you walk up the stairs. So we have been waiting, we've owned this property since '93. It has been in my husband's family since the '70s. So we are not owner occupied, but we are family occupied, which is totally different than strangers that are dumping stuff on the other property behind, because we were trying to clean up that mess. The last meeting, like I said, I had a problem carrying, and but you know, we just here. But at that meeting, he did say he was gonna help clean up. So we left everything there. There was a rubbish barrel there, and we gave him, figuring, well, all right, we're not gonna touch it. Let's see if he cleans up some of the mess. There's new cans and new this and new that, and they didn't pick up one single thing. I mean, we have been maintaining the thing for a whole year. We have been mowing, and we don't want to get rid of the beautiful, I mean, to us, it's beautiful. We've had it there for 40 years. I mean, next to us. I mean, this has been, like I said, when she was there, we were able to park there. We were able to use her backyard to get to our backyard. I mean, we were able to do all this stuff until not. I mean, we
Right,
really
right.
need to get, we need, you know, trucks need to be able to pull in so that if we have a tree pulled out, or, you know, anything, I mean, with the back of the house, we wanna put up something or whatever, we can't get to the backyard because our house, because the map that they showed, our house was not where our house is, so that's what I was showing, it's like, so the map that you have, our house was so far over, it was ridiculous.
So.
So
which
this,
one is
what
yours?
I did was this was the one that you showed me, someone showed, this was your city map.
Okay, yep,
So this is where you had our house, here.
gotcha.
Our house is right here, and I will have some pictures to show that our corner is right here on the line. We are so
So
close.
this is,
This is our house.
okay,
So we are, like I said, I have a whole bunch of pictures showing the corner of our deck. We are right here on this line.
yeah, I
And
gotcha.
there was an issue. The neighbor that lived here, the friend's house, years ago, because he must have been doing some surveying and whatever, and he gave me this purple map to show me. He says, you will need this at one time because he says, this whole section, all the measurements are wrong. He said, so hold on to this piece of paper. And 30 years later, I've got this piece of paper showing. I even have a 1909 to show. We didn't do anything to the house. The house has been there since the one I have from 1909, and the house was still right there on the line. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't do.
So you're looking for like maybe a driveway along there, a space so you can park and then so somebody
you
can
can
access
get to the
behind your
back.
house.
Right, we need
Right.
to, right, in other words, we were willing, all we want is up to the stone wall, which is, all of this they could have, which is tons. So they said they wanted to improve their tenants' living. Well, if they can't do it by parking, let them put some picnic tables up there for them, because they do have and then we wouldn't have to keep on picking up all their crap.
You folks agreed to try to split the lot and at least I'm trying to just.
This is more.
Discern what your need, what each need is. I
Right.
think their need is parking.
Right.
It's- But
It's not even on Davis Street. We at least have
Right,
some
right.
frontage on Davis Street. We have a smidge frontage on Davis Street. They are way over here on Simon Street.
Right,
They don't, I mean, what are they gonna do? They're gonna, there is only room. When you do that, when you do the elevation and you do that, someone is gonna, well, I'll show you the pictures, but there's a wall here and we can barely pull in here. In fact, myself, I would not put 3 cars there because I'd be scared. I drive a truck, so that if we had some work done, say my daughter was parked here, and we had some work done here, because we had, like, when we get the roof done, because of all the trees, we're always getting the roof done.
Okay.
So the roofer will come in here, and then there's a big, huge wall here, and then that's the only flat part, because then now his parking place is over here, and that's the only place that you're gonna be able to do it, because you have to
Right,
see the
so-
pictures, you have to see.
so where, you said you also have an interest in getting parking that's closer to your door. Where were you?
This is what we want right here.
Oh, gotcha.
We want, because here we are, here's our line. So, I mean, now we just take care of this whole area here. We've been mowing everything up until the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, but is this the only access? So are you saying that you can't, that something over here wouldn't do for you because of the wall? Is that what you're
Absolutely, I
saying?
have to show you the picture.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
but then if we give this, we don't give it.
This is
but
the
if-
only
if
place.
this is the piece that you have, how are they gonna get into the lot?
There's no room for any more than 3 cars. They would not be able to have any room.
So
We would
how
only
would
have.
you?
down and take a branch because they look at us and go, well, where are we gonna park? They have to park way over there somewhere, and then they have to
Gotcha,
carry
gotcha.
everything. When we do anything, we carry stuff from, you know, it's a long trip to carry stuff to the backyard.
I didn't understand, I personally didn't understand that at the last meeting. I thought you needed to get vehicles back.
No, no.
Yeah, it sounded like you were talking about getting like equipment back there, but.
We want just access,
Oh,
Walking
sorry,
access,
this is
not walking, yeah, not walking.
You weren't
we
looking at it.
want,
No, no, no.
So where the wall is and our fence, we want to just be able to walk back there.
Oh, okay.
So
so,
right on the property line.
all right,
there's
I will
rock.
show you the middle wall, right? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so now, here is the middle wall.
Gotcha.
We
And how
got,
tall is that? Just estimate, I don't need it.
Which one?
she's got.
The retaining wall. Okay.
Waist
So-
height, something like that.
So we have a picture of the retaining wall here. we have
Yeah, and I
picture of
see
the
there's a
retaining
little set
wall
of steps
here.
there, yeah.
So it goes into that,
And that's in
Back.
that's the wall in the middle of the lot? is
Yeah,
that- Okay.
yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
Nice,
this
That-
one.
This one up here,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and there's,
All right.
there's the
Yeah.
picture of it
All right.
also, that comes right through,
Okay.
okay? All right, so
I see
now.
what you mean.
Okay, so now, all right, where are we? The corner of Highland Court and Davis,
Yeah,
okay? All right, now, here is my grandson standing. They had us parking up here somewhere, and I don't know how you would even get up there, but there he is standing at the corner. So now
Yeah.
here's the wall. So I wanted to go this way to show you that there's a wall that goes all the way, and then here's the road.
yeah.
So here it goes way, way, way up, and it's holding our house up. In other words, now, when we get house insurance, that is a retaining wall. So if that was removed, you can't remove that, our house would fall down. I mean,
Right, it sounds
You know what
like
I
there
mean?
would be
All-
substantial.
everybody in the whole neighborhood has retaining walls because of the water. So at the moment, everything is perfect and we're not getting flooded. If something happens over there, we're the one that's gonna get all the water into our house, and our house is 18, whatever, we've got a dirt cellar, so the water's gonna come pour it in, and heaven knows what else is gonna happen, and who is gonna pay for that? We have been there since, she's been living there since the 80s.
Mhm.
I mean, they have owned the place not even 6 months. I don't even see the I think we've been there long enough. I think we have been waiting for parking our whole life. And it's been a long time, like I said, and so there, all right, so there's the corner, and there's the corner again, because there's the dead end sign. All right, let's see. Okay, so now we want access, okay, so now we know to get to our backyard, okay, so I have to explain that to you, okay? So now there's the corner of the deck,
This
Which-
corner
oh,
here,
yes,
yeah,
right,
okay.
okay, so now we also have,
If you guys want to come on
Yeah,
and see the pictures, go
maybe,
ahead.
yeah, so they can see it too.
oops, I just bought my glasses. Okay, there's a, no, I need them, there's the corner of our deck and there's the fence. So now, we can't just have access here because it'd be going anywhere. We have a big hunk of ledge here that's behind here and way down, which is the whole big, the whole thing behind there is all ledge, okay?
Yeah.
So it goes across the whole street, so. all right,
Yeah, I mean, it's
I need
fixed
my
for right now.
glasses.
Believe me, I know the ledge.
All right, I need my glasses, all right, so I can see. So there's the corner, so now we're going through, and there's like a platform here, and then there's a stone wall, so we really need to get further back in order to get anyone, say, if we took some limbs off a tree, which we need some limbs taken off, because it's knocking our roof off, it's, we've had roof, every
Yeah.
year we gotta get roof done, because there's limbs that we can't get anybody to do, because they have no access, they won't do it, we need.
They won't do it because they can't park off the street.
They won't do it.
Last year, I had the roof repaired, there was a few spots that needed to be repaired. And they actually snuck in between the neighbor's property and the fence that the city put up, because that was the most convenient way
won't
to
do
to
it.
work.
We
around
have
it.
had-
So they, so you have, so you have had workmen, they can't get in there and work.
Yeah, I mean, we had lightning struck our house, okay? They couldn't, nobody even wanted to come and put a tarp on because of the hill and because of everything. I mean, where we live is not fun getting anybody to do anything.
Okay.
I wonder, random spitball.
Yeah.
This may not go anywhere, but this one is your property 57 or 56?
47,
47.
up on Simon, second one in off the corner.
47. It looks like it's,
We don't have, where's,
It's under your thumb. I believe.
oh, under my
Yeah.
thumb?
so this isn't a house number, this,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was looking at the, yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
what is on either side of your building? Like, not here and here, but like along your
I'll show you, I
lot?
have a picture.
So that's what I thought initially, was they were gonna be able to get maybe a right of way so that they could come in and park behind.
We
But I
didn't
guess there
realize
isn't-
wasn't enough.
Well,
Enough
I'm
room.
wondering if there's a way to get you guys a right of way through there. It won't necessarily address the parking issue, I'm just trying to figure out alternate solutions. Like I said, it may not work out, but I wanna have all our options on the table before we.
Maybe if I could just use the pictures, because this is wood fence here.
Yep.
So when I had the paving, again, not civil engineers, this is it's the length of that wood fence and then straight back to the retaining wall.
Right,
That's just the area.
And that's the only place that's
So-
available for parking, so it's gonna be one or the other.
oh, yeah, so the incline, yeah, that's.
Oh, no, but you can't even, you
Right.
can't even squeeze one person in here
Oh,
and here,
okay,
and the
yeah,
one
no,
person.
All right, no, thank you, I just wanted to check on that, because I figured at the very least, that might be an alternative.
We
to
didn't
one of your
realize-
problems,
We
but-
didn't realize how.
And then when they had the road, when they did the pipes for the road on Highland Court, everybody had to park from the street onto Davis Street, because they said, get in your vehicles and move.
Yeah.
They fit 3 vehicles, that was it,
That was all.
that's all that they could fit in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could, like I said, I can see that, looking at the dimensions, there's not gonna be 3, maybe 4 if you squeeze
Because
them.
then what's the
I was able
other,
to get a maximum of 3. Because
because
that's the thing too, for us, if we wanted to put in a driveway, it has to be 50 feet from the street corner,
Mhm.
which means that only leaves us with.
that's
you
the
know,
only spot
40
that's
feet.
available, that's the only spot that's available, because we can see how it, exactly where he is, so that's the flat
Right.
spot, and that's where we, but parking forever is, since she never drove anyway, so that was the only flat spot that you could park. During, not even during the winter time, okay?
Right, and you guys feel free to jump in whenever, by the way, I'm not trying to just dominate
So
over
now-
here, I just talk a lot.
Okay. So we have some pictures, okay?
Yeah,
So according to the state, help me out here, mascot, because she's got the
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got the official paperwork, but I just did it on here because I did. It is only one travel lane. It is mountainous terrain. The road is only 12 foot wide. And driving dangerous conditions at
yeah,
times. So now,
that's not
so
surprising to
we
be honest.
have, so you can look down and see, but the ice will build up. And then that happened. And it's happened quite a few times. Not every time something happens, you end up with a picture.
Sure, of course.
But I
That
mean,
is quite a few pictures.
and then supposedly, what is that, for a 4-family, you cannot, help me out here with the back.
You can't back into the road.
You can't back in.
To park there,
With a 4-family, you cannot.
that looks like that was added fairly recently, because I didn't see it on the E360.
I'll have to, I'll have to take a look at that, to be
'Cause that
honest,
would be
because we
totally
didn't change
impossible.
it recently, but.
You need room to move. All I could see is, I couldn't even picture, even for us now, say we have, okay, because officially we've been a 2-family for forever, but once they did the rubbish thing, somehow somebody changed us back to a 1-family. But we have been, because he came there, we said, well, we are 1 family, but we are a 2-family house. So they did change us on the books or whatever to a one family, because I said, we're just one family, we're never ever gonna rent to anybody, we're just.
Okay, this is.
They can't back directly into the street, so if they pull in, they're prohibited from
There's no
backing
room.
out, because it would be associated with the.
Interestingly, I don't actually remember putting that part in, but it's.
That's part of the April update, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was working extensively on that update, I just don't remember that particular clause, but if it's there, so. So no, that is
Yeah,
definitely something
Like
to
I said,
consider.
you know, I mean, you see the conditions, it's just, you know, I mean, it's the hilly and the snow and the
Oh,
rain,
yeah.
but we do end up with a lot of water,
Yep,
and it turns to ice.
yep,
And I just can't even picture, like I said, she said, like herself, she goes, well, we get parking. I said, well, what are you gonna do, say they shut off the road, whatever, okay, fine, she goes, I don't really care, because I'll stay home. I mean, because if it's too dangerous, I'm staying at home, that's just the way it is, I mean, too bad, if they don't plow or whatever. The neighbors everybody will help each other and they'll help her out eventually. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the part of being neighborly. That was the other question I did have. The applications that came in, I know they came in late and I know the reason and whatever, because the application ended in last year and they didn't even buy the house until 21.
right.
So I understand what you did, why you did it, okay?
Mhm.
But the thing is on their application, they did not want to share. They did not. Okay, so that's a part of being neighborly. We didn't want to either, but we agreed.
Sure.
And they didn't want to, and they're agreeing.
Well, that's after the fact, though. I think when we filled out the
Well, that's fine. I
application,
mean,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Decided
when we
last
ask-
meeting,
Yeah,
we will
yeah,
share.
yeah.
when we ask people
But I
to fill
think
that
that's
out,
a
we're
part-
just looking to see what everyone's.
I think that's a part of being
preferences were.
neighborly, and
you
when
know.
we did discuss things on the phone, she told me, anything you want is what she told me. She goes, because it's the right thing to do. And then I got the email that none of this is gonna meet my needs and I want 8 spaces for my thing. And that's when I said, well, there's no compromise there because you ain't ever gonna get 8 spaces in there. So that's why we're back here. And I do
Okay.
have that email if you need it.
Okay. All right, so questions from the committee?
Not sure I have any questions. I'm not sure how this could be resolved, just from what's been
Yeah.
presented.
And also, it sounds like we probably need to hold this and talk to Conscom if there's a possibility of
Yeah, and
species on the,
engineering,
on the
because of
lot.
engineering saying, well,
Right.
you know,
So,
We feel there is no need for a civil engineer because we don't want to do a thing.
right, no, I understand.
My biggest question would be, how would you, if you got this, intend to proceed? Are you looking to pave this? There's an expense for paving, there's an expense for regrading, there's an expense for retaining walls, there's an expense for engineering. Is this something that you have the intent to?
I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, we do not want any alterations.
We
We want
want
to
to park the
remove,
way we always used to, because we always used to park over there when she had her house there.
once the house was demolished, there was a fence that was put up along the side. I want to remove one fence post and pull up right there. That's all we want. We do not want to damage the
So you're
retaining
not
wall. We
looking
do not want to pave
to
it.
make any improvements to the lot?
No, we're gonna mow it and take care of it, but that's all we want to do. We don't want to touch it. We don't want to destroy that property. I love that wall. I love that second wall. This is heartbreaking. We have gone, a whole year of this. This is,
Well, I understand that, but what we're trying to do is try to find a solution that's best for the neighborhood in general, not just one person.
Yeah,
We are hoping that you folks could figure
I
out
do
a way to split
understand that,
it,
but I
so
think.
that you both could improve your
I
properties.
think having the nature there is what people need. Now, eventually, we wanted to put a rose bush right up in front because the lady that lived there, she loved roses. I would love to be able to just put one rose bush right at that corner so that people can drive by and smile. You know what I mean? You need some kind of space. You can't just ruin everything. I mean, we got bunny rabbits and everything. And I mean, you've got, the birds and all of that stuff. I mean, we don't want to pave anything. We just want to take down one post that you put up with, yeah, that's all. We don't want to pay, we don't want to ruin, because like I said, there's water issues. Everything is working fine right now. It could be a disaster if somebody comes in and has no clue of what they're doing, and they could ruin our house. We are right there. And then
Right,
my,
so we did, like I said, back near the beginning. I don't know if you noticed it when you were going through things, but we did recently adopt ordinances requiring special approval for any, earth removal, regrading and so forth. So that would be reviewed by the city's engineers first. Just so that that's one worry you can
right,
take
but
off.
for
your
my
mind.
other worry, I had nightmares the night before, thinking, these people wanna put 8 cars in here. I know it's totally impossible, but okay, great, you want, we get nothing, okay? So now they're gonna park, and then down the hill they come, and they can't get in, and then into my son's bedroom, into my grandson's bedroom they go. I mean, it is so steep. I mean, they're not gonna be able to turn. Nobody has experienced trying to park even into that spot.
Right, right.
Sometimes you have to come down a little further to try to be able to get into it. It is not easy to even
Okay.
get in there. I can't even imagine 2 cars.
You land where you land, is what
You
she said.
land is where you go,
Mhm.
so I don't even think I want to put 2 cars in there.
Yeah.
Never mind any more than that, because you come in and you turn and you go where you
Yeah, I know the type of curve you're
Gravity
talking
takes
about.
over, and there is no change in that.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But I mean, my nightmare was like, what in the heck are they trying to do?
Okay. So-
Safety is a huge, huge concern.
Of course, it's always a concern for us as well.
So
Did
do
you-
you see some way that you can share this with the St. Myers, or are you saying that?
There's no room, right? We're gonna get in an accident.
Do you mean the entire land or just that lower section?
Well, I'm speaking of the lot as a whole.
We're trying to split it.
We have,
We're trying to split it in half
they
from
have
the.
a bigger side behind.
All right, I guess I
Okay.
missed that. What do you suggest, how are you suggesting?
They're suggesting, I think, that they take this section and the St. Myers take this section, although granting a right of way.
I mean, right away from St. Myers to.
A right of way, for
They
the
could put
Sawyers to
picnic
just get to the
tables back there for
backyard.
their tenants, they could do
Okay, so
something.
how do the St. Myers access this?
Presumably from their
Oh.
backyard or whatever,
Is there- is there room
Which I don't believe without,
Yeah.
speaking for them, it serves no
Right.
purpose to them.
Yeah,
Their
so
purpose
that
was
does,
to acquire the parking.
exactly,
It doesn't
so.
give any single parking, but they said they wanted to better their tenants' lives, so if they put a couple.
Right,
picnic
so,
tables-
okay, so we understand, but I think what they were saying is they want to better their tenants' lives primarily by giving them parking and then also make some other improvements incidental to that.
But they bought the place without parking, and it was also in
Right.
January.
Of course, this is a problem we see all over the city, we're taking that into account, but.
Right, they knew what they were buying in January.
Right,
And-
so we know,
Right,
because we're getting on a bit, we've been here almost an hour, I am gonna kind of try and move this along.
but we're not trying to keep the whole thing,
Right,
we.
you want primarily the lower segment,
Right.
right, so we've got that. And you guys also primarily need the lower segment, because that's the only place you can put parking.
Correct.
Right, okay. All right, and you guys also need at least a footpath right of way to the backyard. But I haven't gotten the impression that that's really an issue of contention. It seems like if we figure out who's getting what, then it doesn't sound like you guys have any particular objection to them walking across the property to their backyard or anything. Okay, so I'm just trying to clear out as many issues as possible. So that's a non-issue. Whoever gets the lower section, I think we can work out a way for you guys to have your backyard access at least. Just to take that off the table. So we're really looking at basically who gets to park there. And again, I think as much as I hate to drag this out longer, I think we kind of do need to put this on hold so that we can talk to the Conservation Commission and the engineers. Because certainly if it's not possible to do the alterations that you guys would like to do because of endangered species regulations and so forth, then that kind of ends the issue. So
Want to make a motion that we hold the application until we can speak with conservation and the city engineers?
I'll second that.
Okay,
And just to clarify, so we're not thinking about moving any walls. Touching.
Okay.
Yeah, you had stated that.
That is good to know.
Your intent was to pay, was to.
Just to
Yeah,
pay
no,
that.
no,
Right, so it's primarily the paving. I know we have a motion on the table, but if no one has any objections, I'd just like to get one further clarification. Because I don't recall from last time, in the process of paving, were you intending to do any regrading or just pave over the top of the grade that's already there?
I have to talk to the paving company again, I don't feel
Okay.
comfortable.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
No, we're not, yeah.
No, any question I ask you guys, it's always just what do you have in mind? I'm not gonna hold you to it strictly unless we're making a final decision or something.
So we can talk about whatever.
All right, so I have a motion and second to hold. If there's no objection, then we are gonna hold this by unanimous consent. We will try to be expeditious in getting the information we need, so that we don't keep you guys waiting too much longer, but it still could take a little bit of time, because I imagine when we talk to them, they're gonna need to do some investigation of their own.
Absolutely.
We will let you know when we have the information we need. Would you like to also be notified of the next meeting date?
get some contact information from you after the meeting. Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
I just wanna say that, you know, I know we just bought the house, and if we would need parking, I mean, I do understand you guys have been there for a long time, I respect that. And, you know, we don't wanna cause any ill feelings or any, you know, nightmares. That's absolutely not what we want. And we wanna be neighborly, and we wanna, you know, help each other out. So you know, I feel bad that we have some discuss.
Okay, so the reason you called was because of that crap hole behind you that, you know, got all kinds of, you know, what's over there. And like I said, we did give you the chance, we left the rubbish barrel there to see if you would even pick up one thing or whatever, and you got
So
kennels.
all the
So-
property got cleaned several times. Even last week, there was Ken cutting down bushes and cleaning the
With
property.
yeah, we had just been back there recently.
All right,
Again,
guys,
this
because
is time.
we're already held the matter,
Yeah,
we need to adjourn. We all have things we need to get to, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So
can we,
feel free, I mean, obviously, feel free to chat with each other in the lobby if you'd like, or whatever, but.
do you?
Yeah, 'cause I've done all the different types of parking. We tried to find
Yeah,
a way
sure.
that we can split it as a parking lot
Mhm.
and used all the specifications from the zoning board, that we cannot find a way to get more than 3 vehicles.
Right. So
We did try.
I think we do need to take exhibits as public record. So we will take what you have, if you'd like a copy or something, or if you want us to make a copy and return it to you, we can probably arrange for that. But otherwise, we'll put that into public record.
We got copies.
We got copies of
Okay.
everything, so that's why you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adjourn, and since I'm not objecting, we are adjourned.